Okay, so you've been there, right? You ask an AI to do something that seems super simple, and what you get back is bizarre, or totally unhelpful, or just plain wrong. It's a huge frustration, but guess what? You're not alone. And the good news is, there's a way to fix it. Let's dive right in. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It feels like it should just get what you're trying to say, but instead you type in a request and it's like talking to a brick wall that, occasionally spits out a weird poem. Well, the reason for this huge communication gap is actually simpler than you think. And this, right here, is the absolute key to everything. A large language model, or LLM, it isn't reading your mind. It's not inferring your intent the way another person would. It's really just an incredibly powerful pattern-matching machine. It takes the exact words you give it and predicts the most likely words to come next. What that means is the quality of what you put in directly, and I mean directly, determines the quality of what you get out.
So, first up, why AI misunderstands you? Before we can start getting the right answers, we really have to understand why we're getting the wrong ones. Let's break down where this all goes sideways.
This chart maps it out perfectly. Every time you've been frustrated with an AI, it probably falls into one of these buckets. You get a vague answer? Well, it's probably because it didn't have enough structured context. It starts hallucinating, just making stuff up? That's a sign it needed explicit constraints, rules of the road. Getting inconsistent or totally irrelevant responses? Same deal. The solution to all of these is to be way more deliberate in how we ask. Which brings us to our next section, the art of the prompt. See, this deliberate approach has a name. It's called prompt engineering. And you should think of it less like you're coding and more like you're mastering the art of a great conversation with these incredibly powerful new tools. Let's really lock in on this definition for a second. The magic word here is designing. You're not just asking a question anymore. You're designing a set of instructions. You're basically building a little logical scaffold for the AI to climb on so it can reach the exact answer you actually want.
And the stakes here are actually pretty high. A well-structured prompt literally controls everything. We're talking overall quality, accuracy, even the specific style and tone it uses. A great prompt can slash the chances of the AI just inventing facts, and it means you can get the same high-quality result over and over again.
All right, so enough theory. How do we actually do this? Well, the great news is you don't have to wing it. There's a simple, repeatable formula you can use for pretty much any task you can think of. And here it is, the 4 parts of a perfect prompt. First, you give it a role. Think of it like casting an actor. You are a professional business analyst. This sets the whole tone. Second, you give it context. That's all the background info and data it needs to do its job. Third, the task. Be crystal clear about what you want it to do. And finally, and this might be the most important part, the constraints and format. Tell it the rules, what not to do, and exactly how you want the final answer to look. This example just brings it all to life, doesn't it? You are a professional business analyst. Bam, that's the role. The customer feedback you'd paste in, that's the context. Analyze and create a summary is the task. And then look at all the rules, the bulleted structure, the 3-item maximum, be concise, avoid jargon. Those are your constraints and format. Every single piece has a job to do.
Okay, so the theory is great, but what's the real-world difference between a lazy prompt and a well-structured one? I mean, is it really that big a deal? Well, let me tell you, it's night and day. Let's look at a really simple example.
On the left, the bad prompt, explain AI. You know what you're going to get, right? Probably a dense, technical, Wikipedia-style article that's not useful to anyone. But now look at the prompt on the right. It gives the AI a persona, an educator talking to a kid. It adds constraints, use everyday examples and simple language. The output you'll get from this is going to be completely different and 1,000 times more useful for what you actually wanted. All right, so you've got the golden formula down. You're ready to level up. Let's dive into 3 pro-level techniques that will help you get even better, more reliable results.
First up is something called few-shot prompting. It's basically a fancy term for show, don't tell. Instead of only telling the AI what you want it to do, you actually show it a couple of examples of the input and the exact kind of output you're looking for. You're teaching it the pattern.
And here is a perfect simple example. You give it 1 completed pair. Question: classify emotion in I hate delays. Answer: negative. Then you give it the second question, and you just leave the answer blank. The AI immediately sees the pattern you've established, and it will almost certainly fill in the blank with positive. It is an incredibly powerful way to get consistent results. Next up is my personal favorite, chain of thought. This one is an absolute game changer for complex problems, things like math or logic puzzles. By simply adding a magic phrase like "think step by step," you force the AI to slow down and actually write out its reasoning process before giving you the final answer. It's like asking a student to show their work. It just dramatically improves accuracy.
And finally, be ridiculously explicit about the format you want back. This is so important. For example, if you're a developer and you need data for an application, asking for the output as a JSON object, which is just a clean, standard way to organize data, is a lifesaver. It means you get perfectly structured information back every single time, ready to be plugged right into your code.
So, as we start to wrap up here, it's really important to see the bigger picture. This is so much more than just a clever trick to use with a chatbot. What we're talking about is a fundamental, brand new skill. I absolutely love this quote because it just flips the whole script. You're not just a user writing text anymore, you're a designer. You're designing a conversation, you're shaping the AI's thought process, you are literally building an interface between your human brain and the model's predictive power.
So why does all this matter? The big takeaway is that prompt engineering isn't just a fad, it's a foundational skill for the future. It's a communication skill, just like writing or public speaking. It's a system design skill for anyone who wants to build products with AI. And really, it's the critical first step toward building more advanced AI agents that can handle complex, multi-step tasks all on their own.
So mastering this skill puts an unbelievably powerful tool right at your fingertips. It changes your whole relationship with AI, from one of constant frustration to one of collaboration. So the only real question left is, now that you know how to talk to it, what are you going to ask it to do? What problems will you solve? What will you create? The possibilities, well, they're now entirely up to you.